They're so fast though in these webs.
XD.
It's rough.
Wait, how does Ags work on Night Stalker with a Void? It works on those, right? But
yeah,
that's not enough to kill them outright.
I don't think so, no. And it comes too late no matter what position you play Night Stalker in, right? Like the problem occurs before that. I think what you need to do as Quincy here, you just acknowledge this is going to be tricky. It's going to be a hard situation, and you might have to give up some ground to Brood. What you need to avoid is that you give Brood more than he theoretically is going to automatically get. If you catch my drift here, you don't like insist on sending heroes into the lane that just feed or can't be comfortable. It's just, all right, we got brooded, it's rough, and then you play for finding a different angle to winning the game. Playing around Shadow Fiend, getting really strong, finding a timing with that, killing the other heroes, itemizing to solve the other heroes, and then eventually Brood can probably be solved as the final piece of the puzzle here. So it is definitely going to be tough. I'm with Effie here. I think the last pick Brood makes the TSM lineup quite a lot easier to play. But we'll see. I've been wrong about Brood in the past where I'm like, oh my god, this is such an insane Brood game. There's
That's
no way
because you're conditioned to think that.
Yeah.
Based on years and years of abuse. Watching this hero get last picked into instant win. But yeah, you're right. It's not quite the same hero that we're used to seeing. But another storyline, which you guys kind of brushed on a bit, is Quinn playing Shadow Fiend. Definitely not a hero that I remember watching him play anytime recently, if ever. I'm trying to like go back in the memory banks, but you know, with the goldfish memory, you only remember so much. I don't remember what I ate for lunch today, to be perfectly honest. Oh wait, reindeer. That's right. Oh, delicious reindeer with you as Quinn. Tell me about this matchup. So Shadow Fiend versus Storm.
Yeah. It's a Shadow Fiend favorite matchup. It's one of Storm's absolute worst. Shadow Fiend can take a very aggressive stance, and Storm's only damaging ability is melee. And if you want to connect that on SF, you take 3 raises. So you're going to see Bryle getting what he can here, and it'll be a decent amount, but I would be shocked if Quinn doesn't come out of this lane as a big victor, especially level 3 onward.
Well, how much do you think for Shadow Fiend relies on getting off to a good start these days?
A lot.
Because back in the day, I feel like it was a really good comeback hero, but it doesn't feel as much anymore for whatever reason. I mean, we're going to be seeing the Magic build, I would assume. Which I don't know if that even includes... I guess Arcane Blink is kind of a thing of the past now, but it's more like the Yule Scepter Blink, maybe?
It could still be a thing here, I think. But yeah, you don't like rush Arcane Blink or whatever. I think Yule's BKB and then Arcane Blink is perhaps in the cards. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to take a different angle because he has Bloodlust. It might offset where you go for some sort of a hybrid build.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's so insane.
All right, Yawar's going to be playing the Morphling, going to be hooked up by Milan's Io, and then we see Dubu on the Bane. Oh, as we see some action, the Swarm applied to Kezu. We talked about how Ponlo can kind of brush that off, but Kezu not so much. But they do have 2 tanky boys in that top lane to try to counteract what TSM is working with. I mean, talk to me about the position 1 games, like mid to late game here for each respective team. So TB versus Morph, essentially.
It's a matchup that Morph really enjoys at a certain point because you're one of the carries that has the highest magic damage output, so you can ignore Terrorblade's armor. You have Adaptive Strike, you have Waveform, and you have E-Blade in your build usually when you play against Terrorblade. But just for the mid-game portion, before the big items come online, I would say Morphling isn't a particularly good hero against Terrorblade. Obviously has the luxury as well of morphing into Terrorblade and using Reflection, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. How good is meta on Morph?
It's okay. It's not the primary reason for grabbing it whatsoever.
I mean, it changes your base attack time,
right? Yeah, but I would say a lot of the time Morph would rather turn into something else, honestly, and just get...
Oh, what else would you choose this game, then? Because I'm not seeing a whole lot. I guess...
Turning into Weaver could be decent.
Yeah,
you get
Weaver
the Swarm, you get Shukuchi. I think that's pretty nice here. But yeah, it's probably one of those 2. You're right. The options aren't great. Exactly.
And then this is not like an Ags Morph game. It doesn't look like at all.
No, definitely not.
Unless you want to go for some Void
turn into Shadow Fiend and do a 6 raise combo.
Oh, hell. I want... Does that stack? I don't know.
You know that.
I wish I knew that. Because I would think, what does logic tell us? Because then we can go with the opposite answer.
Exactly.
As Shukuchi from Moon Meander here. Tomato going to apply some pressure to Kezu in the meantime. Half HP.
Pretty annoying for Ponlo up here. He went for Orb of Venom on Ogre, so every time he gets reflected, he gets orbed. I don't think Orb of Venom was the right choice for this lane in particular, but it might also not have been their original plan to place the lanes like this. But realistically speaking, you're not going to hit the Weaver very much, and you're just taking additional damage from Reflection. You're also not going to go on the Terrorblade. So I think he would have been better off just grabbing some quicker boots or... Yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
A nice swarm onto 2. Reflection to follow. Kezu's going to be the focus for TSM. And Kezu looks to be mega dead, and this will likely be first blood for TSM.
That is the longest range melee attack I've ever seen from non-Monkey King.
Yeah,
or I was lagging in my head.
Right. By the way, this mechanic thing is really bothering me. So the Shadow Fiend raise, is it a buff to you, or is it a debuff to the enemy?
Debuff to the enemy.
So if it's a debuff to the enemy, it should stack.
But it might be 2 individual counters that it places on the target, right? So if you raise him and Morph raises him, the Shadow Fiend one might go up from 1 to 3 and the Morph one.
It should be a just a general. Again, who knows what's true, but I feel like it would be a stacking debuff.
Yeah.
As we're going to see Milan get blown up in the bot lane, so Saberlight and Dubu trying to take control of this lane. I mean, how important is it for... God, I guess the real question is, what do they do against Brood early game to try to mitigate what should be a good Brood game in general? Like, do they need to change lanes? Do they need to rotate somebody into assist? Or just weather the storm, essentially?
I think they need to weather the storm. I think if they overcompensate, it's even worse.
You see the waveform? Oh, Dubu. Not getting super low at all, as Saberlight is just going to turn his sights on everybody else here.
It's just bullying them. I mean, this is tough, man. We're 5 minutes in. Quincy are not looking hot here. They're drawing in mid with Shadow Fiend against Storm, which I think is... I mean, maybe I'm overestimating Shadow Fiend's prowess in this lane. He does have the 12 denies, but Bryle has the same amount of CS, including some small camp creep. So he's not really... He's behind by, what's that, 150 gold? It's almost nothing. The Brood is absolute dumpstring bottom lane. 400 ahead against the Morph, but they're also a little bit extra ahead on the support down there, and he's out-leveling both heroes down here by full level.
All right, Bryle zips on in, and Quinn looks like he's going to get taken out thanks to the rotation from Moon Meander. So you talked about how it was kind of a wash mid. Well, not anymore, as Bryle has overtaken Mr. Quinn by a couple hundred net worth and some extra XP as well.
1,400 ahead of Morph.
Oh, and he has a
minute 6.
Saberlight taking a lot of damage thanks to the IO Spirits, but yeah, Quincy Crew, it just, I mean, 2K net worth lead, it doesn't look like that much, but it's 6.5 minutes. That is very bad.
So to give you an idea, let's say you in mid you had like Ember or Quap or Void Spirit or one of these heroes, right? You would have the opportunity to make some sort of quick rotations that can salvage and recover your lanes. Okay, if Quinn dies here again.
Yeah, this will be truly rough. Quinn, the nice Fire Blast setting up another raise. Bryle trying to zip through. He had that regen run room going. And that is the second death for Quinn, and Ponlo follows suit, and they get absolutely nothing. This is starting to be a shellacking here for TSM. They are dominating right now.
Yeah, so you don't... So pay attention to this. You see Quinn is getting the raises that he can. The short race is actually going to land, and so does the middle raise together with that. But the long race is on cooldown. Quinn can't get it. Now it comes off cooldown just as he dies. And Bryle can reposition here and kill off both of them with Moon, who gets the double. This is rough, because... Again, let's entertain the idea that this is a Quap mid or a Voice Spirit mid or whatever, right? I know I've said it a couple times now, but then you have the possibility to rotate and alleviate pressure somewhere. You can maybe like kill the Brood, you can play with the Night Stalker and get something done, but I'm just looking at the Quincy lineup here. Who moves? Who puts out fires? Where are the firefighters here? You literally just have a lot of helpless people stuck in a burning building, and
wow, that is...
Nobody is able to put out the fire right now. You need to call the firefighters and wait for them to arrive, basically. And they're pretty far away right now.
That sounds like Blizzard headquarters right now. As Dubu gets the Nightmare off onto Io. But it looks like Milan is going to be just fine. I mean, this is a battle between supports. I mean, Yawar is only level 4 right now. Oh, nice Fire Blast, but Tomato ends up getting that Sunder off. As Quinn tried to bide some time, but didn't find the range there. So it'll break things up completely. Meanwhile, Bryle trying to look for more. Milan takes a tumble. And this is looking pretty ugly for Quincy Crew.
This is the most one-sided game we've had in the tournament by far. It might even be more one-sided than any game we had in regular league play.
No.
At 9 minutes.
Come on. Sin.
At 9 minutes?
No, we had some just.
Did we have
awful.
a 4.5k gold lead minute 8?
I'm sure somebody can look this up. There is no way this is the worst song. There's no way. I mean, I remember some truly large shellackings. Okay.
This is
like to the point where the Gabe and Top Hat didn't even feel like it was enough. Ponlo bloodlusting a tier 2 tower because they have absolutely no control of that lane.
Quinn again.
Zip in, Quinn. That half HP. I don't know if they can follow suit. Oh, they will. He's going to reset. Zips back in. And Bryle with yet another kill. And things are just falling apart at the seams here for Quincy Crew. 8-0. And that's an understatement, if we're being real here, because Saberlight just has complete control of this bot lane.
Yeah, he solo killed Ponlo, and he's keeping up the pressure against that tier 2 tower.
All right, let me ask you this, because even in a lot of situations where you've lost games as a captain,
Thank you.
Like getting last pick Brood, like how much of a mental, as we're going to see Kezu potentially die here. Looks like he'll live. But how demoralizing is that, knowing deep down inside that you have been, like, you don't really have a good counter to this hero, you know, like out of the drafting stage?
And in a way, I don't know if it's much more demoralizing than any other last pick hero that you don't have a solution for, but...
I'm not talking about Brood specifically, but yeah,
right.
like a last pick, something like the trump card, as it were.
It's rough. I mean, you just got to look for the solution, right? You talk about it as a team, you're aware, all right, this is a problem, and you try to find the solution. Most of the time you don't find it, but, you know, if your chance of winning the game is low, you still got to play for it, especially in this game, right? It's a game 3 to get to the finals. But it's hard to not get affected. Like, we can pretend that all Dota players are Zen monks based on their absolutely excellent behavior in pub games. So probably all of them just completely calm, just looking at it objectively and doing their best.
Of course.
But yeah, it's mega hard. Like, it's...
This looks Gaben hard to me.
You see, the thing is, it's not just that there's a Brood that is last picked and is uncountered. It's also that, because sometimes you have that situation and you can draw on someone else in the game to solve the problem, right? That's just what I'm missing here, is that element of, all right, this hero has, this is the guy we can play around. This is the move we can make to pretend Brood isn't there or to kill him. And I'm not finding it, and Quincy haven't either. They have 0 kills minute 11. They're putting no pressure.
Bryle with the help of Saberlight and Dubu find yet another easy kill, this time onto Ponlo. Kezu pops the ult. They're going to try to go for this Brood Mother, but Yawar still taking heavy damage, gets the waveform off, and they finally get their first kill of the game. Does Quincy Crew, thanks to Kezu's rotation, but I don't know if they can get much more than that.
They needed 5 heroes to get a 1-for-1 trade so far.
Right, I think it's broken.
1-for-1 trade in the end. So, in the meantime, Terrorblade total free farming top, pushing the tier 1 tower. And yeah, they did get the Brood, but see, that's... If you're at that level where you need to bring 5 heroes to kill that one guy that's a thorn in your side, you got to ask yourself, is that the right thing to do? Like, is ganking Brood there the play, or is there something else you can find on the map? But it's hard.
Well, what are your thoughts on... if you go historically speaking, based on, like, Dota history, you have a hero that just sits in a lane and pushes like Brood. You take the tier 2 and you just continue. That's what they used to do, and then go back in the jungle. So we got to hold that thought here. Jawar already used the waveform. He's going to get a lot of pressure applied to him, and he's going to drop relatively easily as TSM continuing to dominate here. But in a game like this, with like Brood going to other lanes, just the hero is so much different than before. Ponlo. Yeah, looks like he's going to be next on the list. 11-1 advantage for TSM.
I thought they had a Vessel there on TSM because of Morph not surviving, but he actually doesn't have maxed out attribute shift. He went 4-1-3 build, which is, I want to say, pretty uncharacteristic for a game of this type. Yawar just couldn't tank it. He just got killed through his shift easily. Obviously, this skill is one of the weirdest scaling skills in all of Dota. It basically doubles every skill point. 3, 6, 12, 24, which is very unusual. But yeah, without having that 4th point, just fragile. I gotta say, man, I sympathize with Ponlo here. I've been here as Ogre. It sucks. You're kind of walking around, looking for whatever you can. Relocate bottom, gonna be forced, and they're just gonna back off.
Yeah, Quinn will live though. So silver lining here for Quincy Crew. I mean, the fact that these two teams are so closely matched, it's just unfortunate that the Brood has kind of just changed the complexion of this game as Kezu gets off the Crippling Fear into a TP. And again, These are all just defensive measures. Lots of space created for Tomato on this TB that is quite large right now. And here we go with the smoke from Quincy Crew. Let's see if they can set something up. So Quinn has Dragon Lance. So it is not going to be a magic damage build. I don't know if this was the plan all along or it's because it just feels like needs to change it up based on the game state.
I guess they want to try to get more value out of Bloodlust, but...
Yep. As we see, right, the ult from Kezu. He's going to apply the pressure to Saberlight. He's already at half health, but getting on the other side of the cliff. Going to hex himself, and will just walk away safely. Quinn looks like he got caught off by Dubu, who sacrifices himself to allow Brood to live. So not the greatest kill for Quincy Crew, but they're going to take what they can get here.
They used so much to get a 5.
That is true.
5-man rotation.
God, that is an obnoxious
Dark Ascension.
effect on Night Stalker.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
What's Tomato CS? 148, 10 per minute. So you're going to see it here with the shift level 3 instead of level 4. Just annihilated. Yeah.
Ah, my boy, you are.
That is despair right there. That is just despair.
I mean, the good news is that if they go on to lose this game, it means they only have 1 life left, right?
It was not an elimination game. That is very true.
I mean, technically, if TSM wins this, they're still in. I mean, they're going to be in the grand finals, but as you see a double kill from Saber, I mean, this is just a complete stomp. So they only have 1 life to live with as well, Cinder. Nothing changes. You just have to play an extra series.
That's true.
That's got to be your mentality for Quincy Crew. Unless they can come out with some sort of miracle, but really struggling to see any kind of avenue for them to make that work. As Saberlight's just getting towers by himself. As bottom lane, looks like Quinn going to try to get saved by Milan. He'll be successful. Will lead to the death of Milan, but they'll take that for sure. And down he go. Ooh, is actually attempting to TP, and Bryle just enough mana to to close the gap there. As Quinn looks like he's going to take out some nice. Oh my God, is he going to Requiem spike? Oh, is that that is the Ags on Broodmother. That is really cool.
Yep. Because what does a hero that plays totally around map control have an Ags that does? Give insanely much more map control.
It's a nice trap. I mean, they're going to get rid of something with techies, so they need a trap in the game still. So Brood has that covered, Cinderin.
Yep. Absolutely love it. Ponlo is going to remain level 5 for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. XD. Very sad indeed as TSM dominating here. There's a stun onto Yawar. It is enough damage. I mean, I believe he does have level 4 and an attribute shift now. Okay, Crippling Fear going to allow them to pick off the Weaver at the very least. Requiem trying to buy some space, but not enough space for Kazu to live. 17-3. 5 more kills for TSM to achieve their ultimate dream. Well, actually, that was maybe not the implications of that. Tier 2 tower in favor of TSM now. And the fact that Roche hasn't even been attempted yet, and they have this much of a lead, just kind of shows the state of things.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Been working on the BKB now. I mean, is there... I'm really trying here. Are there any items? I mean, we're going to go for double BKB. Kezu's Night Stalker, the SF, as we see Roche being taken out here. Yawar very far away from Manta style. He has a Yasha Morbid Mask with treads. And now TSM have an Aegis to work with.
What was your question? Are there any items?
Just don't even bother. Are there any items in the game? Could they perhaps pick up a Divine Rapier? I mean, I don't even know if that would matter, honestly. Pick up a Divine Rapier from TSM.
If they could buy a time machine and go back to the draft.
I feel like you have made this joke many a time. They're going to find a pickup on Bane, so it's a 5v4 in favor of Quincy Crew, but Bryle coming in to try to clean up. Gets the Electric Vortex onto Quinn. That is a double kill for Tomato as Milan looks to be next. And Quincy Crew, oh, they just missed their mark. They get that kill, so it's 4-21. So close.
Ponlo reached level 6 and got a multicast there, so that's good news.
Attention. He's reached level 6. And now into the base they go. So, question is, when will Quincy Crew call it GG on this one? Obviously not being an elimination game, but could still try to mount something. Maybe get a little bit momentum going into.
Wait, how many webs do you get with brood eggs?
I'm gonna say 4.
5 charges.
5.
So what's the coolest symbol you can draw? You can make a perfect star with 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can't see that. I'm drawing that for the camera, guys. If you have nothing else to look at in this game, I'll show you how to draw a star with my finger.
Is there no restriction to where you can put them?
I don't think so. I think you can place them on top of each other, right?
Yeah, that's my only question mark, because it is vector targeting, right?
I think so, yeah. So he could draw a nice star with the webs.
Sure. That
The
sounds
spinner's
good.
snare. Here comes Ponlo.
Don't think they stack though, Cinderin. It's very sad to hear that, I'm sure. Ponlo, level 6, but dead. 6 feet under the ground, more like, as Quinn trying to run away here, but it ain't happening. Still with the Aegis on TSM. Quinn dead as well. Just waiting for the GGs. Just waiting for it. I mean, talk to me about this, because, I mean, you've been a pro player before, Cinderin.
Once upon a time.
You're going to lower brackets, so it's not an elimination game.
Right.
Trying to find maybe some momentum, I assume, that, you know, because it's going to feel pretty bad to just GG out, perhaps, although they do that now. As you can see, is that Moon?
Yep.
Celebrating. Showing some emotion. They are in the grand finals. Is TSM FTX, Cinderin,